What's up, guys? Today we're going to be doing 5 reasons why you should pick up the Galaxy S9 Plus in 2021, and even going into 2022. I still think this is a good option for people who are on a budget. So first one would be the price, guys. I preach this on my channel. The price of these older flagship phones, they're so good compared to even budget phones at this price point of $200, and even I would argue even some mid-rangers, they outperform even some mid-rangers in that $300 category. So the S9 Plus actually comes in at $183 at the lowest. Check out my full refurbished unboxing if you're curious on how that unboxing experience looks. I did a whole unboxing on that for you guys. And yeah, this is the same version. It's still going strong today, 3 months later. And yeah, the price on here is just right, guys, especially compared to other phones. The specs that you get and everything is going to be phenomenal. So if you're thinking about picking this up, the price on this is excellent right now. If we're talking about prices that compared to other phones, you will get mostly plastic phones. This is a full glass and metal device here. And even, guys, it's IP68 dust and water resistant. So you can get this thing wet, won't break at all. You drop it in the toilet, whatever, it just will not break easily. That is one of the things that I really like about this phone. Just very premium feeling hardware for a very cheap price. Alright, number 2 definitely has to be this display here. So there are a couple of special things about this display. One, at this price point, you're getting a full 1440p display, so a full 2K display. You're not going to find that really on any budget smartphone or any real mid-ranger smartphone as well. So you get a very sharp resolution display for you guys that like to watch content in high resolution. You can do that on this phone, and it's a very nice panel. It's a Super AMOLED panel with HDR10, and it's a 6.2 inch panel as well, so it's not super big. Most modern day phones, I would say, are around 6.4 to 6.8 inches. So this is definitely a good phone for people who kind of have smaller hands. It's easier to reach stuff on this display as well, even though hilariously it's a plus size phone. It just shows you how big phones have gotten these days. But yeah, guys, the display on here is really nice, very bright and vibrant, also super colorful as well. And one of the things you'll notice is when you just look up really close how sharp the icons and everything are. I mean, it's a really, really nice display. And also, one thing I want to point out is that there is no notch on this display. So if you're anti-notch and you absolutely hate notches, yeah, you have a little bit of bezel here, but there's no notch on this display as well, which is really, really nice. Next would be your gaming experience. So what is awesome about these older flagship phones is that they actually have these really strong processors. So you have the Snapdragon 845 on here, which is very capable. I dropped a full gaming test, guys, on this phone. Check it out if you want to see that in full. Snapdragon 845 does an excellent job in 2021. You also have the Adreno 630 GPU, and you even have micro SD card support if you want to go ahead and just load this thing up with a ton of videos, pictures, apps, and stuff like that. You can really put a ton of stuff on here. 64 gigs of internal storage with 4 or 6 gigs of RAM, again, depending on your configuration that you buy. But when I tell you guys, this thing just blows through games. It does an excellent job playing PUBG, Call of Duty Mobile, even Fortnite. I was really surprised at how it was able to keep the frame rates. It wasn't really lagging at all. It's just a super clean processor. And guys, if you want a cheap phone that can play games, go for a Snapdragon 845, a Snapdragon 855. Trust me, you're gonna have a really good time there. And a lot of those older flagship phones, they're cheap now, and you'll get some excellent performance as opposed to even a $300 phone that's not gonna even be able to play PUBG at HDR extreme settings and stuff like that. So definitely don't sleep on this phone when it comes to gaming. This is definitely a powerhouse for that. Next, I want to talk about the cameras. Believe it or not, the cameras are still really good on this phone. As far as taking images, you get some really clean and detailed shots. Now, I guess the only thing that would make this camera age would be that it doesn't have an ultra wide or something like that, which I know is the most popular secondary camera. But when I tell you guys that, as you can see from the shots here, they speak for themselves. These are some pretty clean shots. A 12 megapixel standard and a 12 megapixel telephoto. You get 4K video at 30 and 60 FPS, along with an 8 megapixel selfie. And you also have this really cool dedicated iris scanner, which will scan your eye, which a lot of people think is gimmicky, but it works. It's fine. But as far as the photos, clean shots, guys, clean shots. very good image processing, good color. I was just really happy how clean everything came out. Very colorful Samsung image processing. The selfie was pretty good on here as well. So I think it's definitely pretty competitive when it comes to the cameras in terms of detail and dynamic range. You get that really nice Samsung, oversaturated image processing that a lot of people like. And yes, I had no issues with the Galaxy S9 Plus camera on here. And again, the only thing would be, I guess, that, there's no ultra wide or anything like that. But if you can get over that, you're still getting a very clean camera setup here. So I really, really like that. Alright guys, and last would be the bells and whistles. So what do I mean about that? All of the flagship little features you still get on here. So just to go over them, there are a ton, but you also get on here the Samsung desktop support. So if I wanted to turn my TV or PC monitor into a little desktop and use it, my Galaxy as like a little trackpad, it is a really nice little cool thing to have as well. Also, secure folders is on here as well. This phone does have NFC on it. Like I said, it's got IP68 dust and water resistant. The physical fingerprint scanner is pretty fast. I actually I really prefer physical ones, but you guys know how I feel. I wish that it was on like the power button, but it's still very fast. It works. And you also have face unlock on here as well, which is really nice. And you also have wireless charging on here too. So this phone has all the little bells and whistles that you see in a lot of flagships. And even this phone has stereo speakers as well, which I'll go ahead and let you guys hear. So you guys can hear these stereo speakers and max them out for you. Some super solid sounding stereo speakers on here, very good bass quality, very loud as well. So overall, I think the S9 Plus is still an awesome device for you guys to consider. Definitely considering the price to spec ratio. Also, battery life is pretty decent on here as well. I think you average around like maybe 5 to 6 hours of screen on time. So it's decent. It's not anything too crazy. But yeah, I really like this phone. You have a headphone jack even on here as well, which is pretty nice. So it's got a lot going for it. So be sure to let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.